presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Wisconsin.
A cool, chilly night for baseball on this Monday in Milwaukee, but the Brewers continue their homestand from Miller Park. This time they welcome in the Cincinnati Reds. Both teams with 11 victories already on the season. Chris Narveson out on the mound. He has given up just 6 earned runs so far on the year, but only 1 win to show for it. And Bronson Arroyo, the veteran, looking for his 3rd win already in the 2011 season. David Nelson, Craig Kashan back with you here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. And boy, oh boy, Davey, a lot of people picked these two teams, the Reds and Brewers, to battle it out in the National League Central Division come the end of September. But overall, if you look at this season series and then going back in the last 2+ seasons, Cincinnati has gotten the best of the Brewer crew, winning 18 of 21 games and winning a lot of categories.
Well, and the one that stand out for me is in those game wins, average 6 runs a game. I mean, that's a lot of runs in that 305 batting average. But then on the back end, you see where their relief ERA is at 2.55, under 3. So, the Brewers are going to have to really pick it up, and they have to play very well. And like I said before, they've got to be able to close out the ball game, because this Cincinnati ball club has had a lot of come-from-behind wins against the Brewers.
All about finishing up. BA and Rock, a dynamic duo. Yes, they are, but they're going to talk about the Brewers' dynamic duo in Braun and Fielder when we continue our coverage on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
Sports Wisconsin is presented by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Triple Hopped Brewed Miller Lite. Taste greatness. By AT&T. And brought to you by Toyota, proud sponsor of the Milwaukee Brewers and the Toyota territory at Miller Park.
The only thing that really matters is winning.
there they are, the faces of the franchise. And what a start to a season for both. The National League Player of the Week, Ryan Braun. It was just a couple of weeks ago that Prince Fielder picked up the National League Player of the Week. They're back in the starting lineup and ready for the Cincinnati Reds tonight. Hi, everybody. Brian Anderson along with Bill Schroeder. Great to have you with us from Miller Park. And you can say all you want about the pitching, which has been great. The defense has been outstanding. But this ball club is being carried right now by two guys, the two faces of the franchise, Braun and Fielder.
It's good enough when one of them are going well, but when they're both hitting the baseball and getting on base like Braun and Fielder, good things happen for the Brewers. Ryan Braun, 21 consecutive games he's reached base. He's been on base 45 times this year already. That's incredible. Prince Fielder leads all of baseball in RBIs. Both of these guys seeing the ball well, going to the opposite field, and in the middle of this order, everybody knows when these guys are coming up.
3 weeks into the season, the best offensive tandem in all of baseball, Ryan Braun and Prince Fielder. Game 1 against Cincinnati tonight, and you bet seeing red is right. The Brewers trying to answer a series sweep at the hands of the Reds in the opening series. Game 1 coming up next. Everybody knows that was a juvenile Cooper Hawk. And he was here yesterday. We haven't seen him today. The roof is closed. Good fun yesterday on the Animal Planet here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Dusty Baker and the Reds here in Milwaukee. Game 1 of a 3-game series. You see what the Reds have done since their terrific start, sweeping Milwaukee. They're just 11-11, dropping 2 out of 3 to the Cardinals. Chris Narveson ready to go, and his first pitch is in there for a strike. That is Bill Welke calling balls and strikes tonight. Tim Cheetah, Jeff Nelson, and Marty Foster on the bases. A crew that came up from Chicago for yesterday's game with the Cubs and the Dodgers. And this is Drew Stubbs leading off for Cincinnati. They had a much anticipated matchup for the Milwaukee Brewers with the Cincinnati Reds, the reigning division champions from a season ago. Ricky Weeks called it a wake-up call. The first series of the year getting swept at the hands of the Reds. And the Brewers are hoping for an answer here in their home ballpark.
Well, a lot of late offense for the Cincinnati Reds in that series, and all started with that dramatic come from behind victory on opening day in Cincinnati. Talk about a wake-up call. It came quickly.
Now here is the starting lineup tonight for Dusty Baker. They are without Scott Rowland, a big loss in their lineup. It's Stubbs, Bruce, and Votto. The middle of the order is Phillips, Gomes, and Cairo, and the bottom three, Hannigan, Giannis, and Arroyo. The Piggly Wiggly batting order for the Cincinnati Reds. Joey Votto, the reigning MVP. And there is Johnny Gomes.
Now the cut fastball, I guess a bit high, maybe outside, not sure. It's been good command for Chris Narveson, is why he's got his earned run average at 2.19 in his first 4 starts. He's been very, very good.
Three balls and 2 strikes to the Reds leadoff hitter. Long at bat to get us started tonight. And a swing and a miss, and Narveson picks up a strikeout for his first out of the night.
Now keeping the ball down, elevating from time to time, in and out, and that's a 4-seam fastball, inner half, and Stubbs swung right through it. And Chris Narveson's numbers very good, you know, picking up where he left off at the end of last year. He just struck out his 24th batter. He's only allowed the 1 home run.
Here's Jay Bruce in the 2-hole for Cincinnati. And the defensive alignment that goes with the left-handed slugger. A lot of shifting with the Reds in town. You'll see a great deal of it. And that saves a hit right there. Betancourt makes the play. 2 men are out. You'd have to say, Rock, at this point, the shifting has overwhelmingly saved more than it has allowed.
No doubt about it. There, from time to time, there's a flare that's going to drop because of the shift, but you don't set your defense, you know, based on a flare. You set your defense, as you see Ryan Braun, Gomez, and Kotze in the outfield. Outstanding defense on the infield throughout this homestand. McGee, Betancourt, Weeks, and Fielder. And Lucroy catches Narveson tonight.
Our Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Brewers defense. Milwaukee still the best in the National League as far as errors go. The fewest errors committed with 7. And all 7 of those errors accumulated by 3 different players. McGee, Betancourt, and Weeks. That's it. Joey Votto. He is off to a great start. Quite an answer to an MVP season last year. An on-base percentage of .515. That one is hit hard. Back is Braun near the wall, and he's got it. Just enough room. Votto retired. And a 3-up, 3-down inning for Narveson. Now the Brewers are coming up. And here is the starting lineup for Reneke tonight. It's brought to you by Piggly Wiggly. Ricky Weeks, Carlos Gomez, and Ryan Braun at the top. The middle of the order is Prince Fielder, Casey McGee, and Mark Kotze. You see McGee riding a 10-game hit streak right now. The bottom of the order, Betancourt, Lucroy, and Chris Narveson. And that starting 9 will match up against Bronson Arroyo. 2-2 record, Rocket, a 4.24 earned run average.
And he's lost his last 2 decisions, and lifetime against the Brewers, making his 20th start tonight, 23rd game overall, a 10-7 record, and a 3.77 earned run average in that time as he faces the Brewers.
Arroyo has had a good run against Milwaukee over his last 5 starts, taking it back parts of 3 seasons as he opens up with ball 1 against Ricky Weeks. Ricky batting .280, 5 home runs, 8 runs batted in. Back to the starting lineup yesterday after he missed Saturday's game with a pinky finger injury on his left hand. Injured it while running the bases. Pop up out to short. That is Janish. And the first out. Here's how the Reds line up defensively, and they are a spectacular defensive team. Gomes, Stubbs, and Bruce. Cairo, Janish, Phillips, and Votto around the horn. And Ryan Hannigan does the catching. But Rock, the Reds are going to miss dearly their third baseman, Scott Rowland, who's out with a shoulder injury. And many around the Reds camp are feeling like this could be a serious injury that has him on the shelf for a while.
And that's about the last guy that this team needs to be missing. But you have to take advantage of it if you're the Brewers. Not only what he gives you on the field, but his leadership when he's in the lineup.
Scott Rowland has had shoulder problems in the past. Injured himself late last year into the postseason. And they thought he had it turned around. They actually extended his contract, gave him a couple of extra years. But Rowland, while his offensive numbers not quite there, he had driven in some runs with 12 RBIs. It's his presence defensively, his leadership in the clubhouse. And it's tough to be that kind of player. And have that role when you're not playing, especially the clubhouse part of it.
Yeah, you have to be that guy that's out there every day. He was a difference maker in that organization. That's why they went to the postseason last year. You talk to the Reds and their front office will tell you Rowland's the reason why they turned things around. He got them to believe in themselves and learned how to win. He helped a bit, Dusty Baker.
Yeah, Dusty Baker taking the Reds back to the postseason for the first time in 15 years a season ago. As Gomez spoils one foul, count stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ryan Braun to follow. And Gomez trying to reach for him. Carlos has had a big homestand. He is 7 for 15 on the homestand. And has raised his batting average from 197 to 247 during this stretch. That's what you can do in April. You can put big numbers on the board and get your batting average into a more respectable fashion quickly. That one is hit high in the air, deep left field. Back is Gomes, and he's got it just short for Carlos Gomez.
Yeah, hung a breaking ball, did Arroyo, and Gomez able to wait back, just got under it enough to keep it in the ballpark. Look at the way he's able to double clutch on that breaking pitch, a hanger up in the zone, and Gomez gives it a good ride, but Gomes able to get it right at the top of the wall. Didn't miss it by much.
Needed another foot. Instead, the second out. And here is the National League Player of the Week, Ryan Braun, joining Prince Fielder on that ledger. I think you get a nice watch when you win the Player of the Week in the National League. And why did he win Player of the Week? How about these numbers? .480 batting average, 3 homers, 21 total bases during the week.
Yeah, Ryan with 29 base hits, 16 walks already this year. He's been on base 45 times in 21 games. I mean, that's unbelievable. Over 2 times a game, he's been on reach base safely.
And you'll find his name all over the stat sheet of the major offensive categories in the National League. Both he and Fielder on that board. Ryan Braun with his 7 home runs, tied for the National League lead with Troy Tulowitzki and Albert Pujols. As you see the Powerball home run leaderboard for Milwaukee. A 3-0 curveball for Arroyo.
The definition of respect. Prince Fielder leads all of baseball in RBIs. Ryan Braun leads the National League in runs scored.
And tied for the league lead in homers. Braun is also 6th in the league in batting average. So the numbers are there. And as we mentioned in the open, the Brewers are getting great pitching. Defense has been a big story this year, no question. But never in the Braun Fielder era have they gotten as much production from those two at the same time.
Right. Usually one's hot, the other is not. But it's been fun to watch them so far this year.
The 3-2 from Arroyo, and Braun whistles one into left field, a base hit. Arroyo had him behind 3-0, comes back, but Braun a base hit. How about our Nissan keys tonight on Bronson Arroyo? It comes from the hitting coach, Dale Swaim.
Well, I mean, nothing's changed. He's going to feature different angles with his curveball, a little cutter, runs his fastball in on the hands, a little sinker he tries to keep underneath you. He'll elevate his fastball. He'll throw any pitch at any time. He'll drop down. He'll quick pitch. He's just kind of out there, not a ton of velocity. He might get it to 90 miles an hour sometimes.
He'll throw 3-0 curveballs, things like that. Very unpredictable, but he could throw them all for strikes. I mean, coming in, only 3 walks and 23 strikeouts for Arroyo. So he pounds the zone with, 4 or 5 different pitches.
Now you see the numbers for Fielder, 363 average, 3 homers, and the 22 RBIs at the top of the National League right now. Ryan Howard is second on the list with 19, and then Ike Davis and Ryan Braun tied for 3rd in ribbies. Yes, the Pigeon, an unfortunate ending for him yesterday. Courtesy of the Cooper's Hawk. That was something, though.
Yes, it was.
Great images from our crew.
The Hawk looked very good on Foxmo.
Yeah, we always say everything looks good, in super slow motion, but
it didn't look good to the Pigeon.
So you came to the ballpark yesterday. You got a lesson. Circle of life, Rock.
Yeah.
Circle of life.
Yeah.
Now, or is there a sequel to the Pigeon? It's like a good horror movie. Those are just the feathers. Perhaps the Pigeon lives to tell quite a story.
But it left a mark, guaranteed.
Fielder ahead in the count. And Braun takes off. Fielder takes the pitch. The throw to second is high. Braun with a stolen base. Almost overslid the bag. He got a great jump off Arroyo. And he steals his 3rd.
And not a very good throw by Hannigan. They've been running on the Cincinnati catchers. That's a 21st stolen base against Cincinnati this year. Opponents have been caught 7 times. Ryan with a very good jump. And he has been running with Prince Fielder at the plate. Actually was able to tie a game. What was it, Saturday? Running on a 3-2 pitch.
That's right, in the 9th inning. Well, we'll see if Fielder has the green light here. 3-0. That's one of the aspects of the Ron Renicky managed Brewers this year. We've seen a lot of 3-0 swings. Fielder takes. Some hitters don't like to swing 3-0. I'm not sure where Fielder fits in that category, but A lot of guys like to get into the count, see a strike first.
And not many hitters are very good at swinging 3-0. It's a select group.
And it's ball 4. So the stolen base opens up first base, and fielder draws the walk. And how about Braun on the bases here over the last 10 days? Yeah, remember, he did not make it to second on a little pop-up that ended up as an error and then tried to make up for it. He ran through the stop sign. That was one of the great reactions of the year by third base coach Ed Cedar. This is what Rock was referencing. Saturday night, Braun off with the pitch, able to score from first on a double down the right field line, and a great slide at home plate to get in there. That tied the game in the 9th inning. The Astros would win in extra innings, as McGee lifts one high in the air to right. And it's Bruce to make the catch. Inning over, the Brewers strand a pair.
And the Brewers are on the brink of getting their all-star right fielder Corey Hart back in the mix of things. Corey Hart began his rehab assignment last Tuesday with Nashville, and he's just about ready to rejoin the Brewers, and he could be back in Milwaukee as early as tomorrow night. He'll play 9 innings tonight and then get some more bats tomorrow afternoon with an afternoon game with the Sounds, and could be activated as early as Wednesday in the finale of this series with the Reds. B.A.
All right, Telly, thanks. And I know they are expecting some rain in Nashville, and that could factor into when Corey Hart returns to the ball club. But most certainly will be with the team as they hit the road. Brewers are headed to Houston beginning Friday, a series that begins Friday after an off day Thursday. And we're also going to get Zach Greinke back in the mix on the next road trip. He could pitch as early as the Atlanta series if everything trends out as it is so far. Arneson pulls the string. Beautiful changeup on Brandon Phillips.
Yeah, I talked to Dale Swaim about Corey Hart and his progress down in the minor leagues. And Corey is saying he's feeling better at the plate. He kind of felt a little bit lost early on, but a couple of nights ago he had a couple of doubles. But taking pitches, starting to see the baseball. It's not about results. It's about how you feel at the plate. That's what will determine when Corey returns. It didn't take long for Jonathan Lucroy, that's for sure.
And back to Telly with more on the weather situation down with the Sounds.
Well, B.A., you did mention a good point as far as what would happen if it does rain tomorrow, as it is expected to rain. And Ron Renicky said if that is the case, Corey will more than likely just come to Milwaukee, but he won't be activated until Wednesday. So if he plays tomorrow or if he doesn't play, he'll definitely be back here in Milwaukee by Wednesday.
So the bottom line is you won't see him in a Brewers uniform until Wednesday. And he could use a day off if he continues to play. The plan is that he'll get a full 9-inning game under his belt as Phillips sends one deep into the left center field gap. That's going to go to the wall. Actually bounces up and out of here. So on a 2-strike pitch, Brandon Phillips, a leadoff double in the second.
And Narveson got ahead of him 1-2 with a couple of changeups, and Brandon Phillips able to center on that pitch out away from him. And one of the few Reds right now that's swinging the bat well. Brandon Phillips, Miguel Cairo, both seeing the baseball well. You remember the first series in Cincinnati, Brandon Phillips did not do much. He wasn't seeing it all that well, but starting to hit now.
Phillips in the final year of his 4-year contract says he wants to be a Red for life. And we'll see if Walt Jocketty, the Reds general manager, decides to try to keep him as a Red for life.
Well, he's certainly a solid hitter and a very good defender. Has not committed an error this year. As a matter of fact, the infield that Dusty Baker has put out there tonight has not committed a single error.
Yeah, Phillips, a couple of Gold Gloves under his belt, including last season. So here's Gomes. You figure Gomes is a good matchup for Narveson with his changeup. Gomes is a free swinger.
Yeah, check out the changeup down in the zone. And able to keep it down there. That's where you want it.
Quickly, no balls, 2 strikes on Johnny Gomes. He's hit for some power this season, has 6 homers and 15 runs batted in. And he swings and misses. Narveson strikes him out. Second strikeout for Chris Narveson.
Well, second strikeout, 25th on the season, and there's that little slider that he backdoored to the outside corner. Gomes a pull hitter, and that's where you want to pitch him, soft away. Get him to try and pull it.
So 1 gone. Phillips still at second base, and it's Miguel Cairo, who for the time being is the replacement for Scott Rowland. Cairo, a contact hitter, guy who likes to use all fields, especially good to right field. I think the biggest question with Miguel Cairo, how often can you go to the whip with Cairo? I mean, can he play every day?
Yeah, he's one of those guys that will help you tremendously when he's coming off the bench. You maybe start him 2 times a week, but you ask too much of him and throw him out there too often, you could tire a bit.
Cairo would be Dusty Baker's version of Craig Counsell, and pressed into duty in the absence of Scott Rowland. Cincinnati has 2 starting pitchers that are on the mend as well, Johnny Cueto and Homer Bailey. Bailey is out with a shoulder injury, Cueto a bicep injury, and they're expecting those 2 back in the month of May. Count evens at a ball and a strike. Miguel Cairo has played for some winners. Miguel Cairo has bounced around a great deal in his career. Came up with the Dodger organization. He was a big second base prospect with Los Angeles. He's been with Toronto, the Cubs, the Devil Rays, the Cardinals, the Mets. He's got a full roster of teams that he's played for.
Yeah, utility players usually do, right? Organizations feel as though they can get somebody younger, maybe not cost them as much, but he always lands on his field. 36 years old.
And 16 years in the big leagues. One thing Dusty Baker loves about Cairo is the fact that he's been on winning teams, championship teams. He's been to the postseason a great deal. Started with the Cardinals early in the decade, then the Yankees. He was on that Phillies club in '09, and then last year, of course, with the Cincinnati Reds. Good piece to the puzzle. The 2-2, and Narveson missed with a changeup. Cairo doesn't chase.
It's guys like Cairo that would give Narveson a bit of a problem. Guys that aren't free swingers and will lay off that changeup. You talked about Gomes being a good matchup for Narveson. Cairo just the opposite.
We'll see what Narveson has in mind for Cairo. Full count, got a base open at first. Phillips dancing at second, and a little flare. Fielder is back, can't get it. Weeks makes the play. Narveson didn't cover. Unlikely they would have gotten Cairo anyway, but the fact that Fielder was so close, it kept Phillips from scoring. And that is a Miguel Cairo kind of hit right there.
Yeah, a little jam sandwich inside. Eats him up inside, but able to muscle it, gets enough of it. You see Prince even with the bag because he's so far from the line. So right there, the shift might have cost the Brewers an out. Prince missed it by maybe 3 inches. But again, you can't set your defense based on a ball hit like that. Nothing you can do about a flare.
Cairo has made a career out of hits like that, and there's some skill involved in it. I mean, his swing is a short swing. He keeps the bat.
It's called making contact, right? You don't have to hit it hard all the time to get a base hit.
That's it.
There's a lot more hits off the handle than there is off the end of the bat.
It's a good level swing. So there is a little skill in order to be lucky. Well, now Narveson a chance for a ground ball to get out of the inning here. Ryan Hanigan, a couple of home runs, has 6 driven in on the season. One of those homers against Milwaukee. Part of the catching duo in Cincinnati. They split time. Roberto Hernandez and Ryan Hanigan. I beg your pardon, Ramon Hernandez. You don't see many catchers platoons. They're both right-handed batters, but they, Hernandez will catch 3 out of every 5. Hanigan will catch the other 2, but they do play a lot, both of them.
It was interesting. Hernandez caught the game on the opener in Cincinnati, just blew the Brewers apart offensively, didn't catch the rest of the series.
Begging the question, what do you have to do to stay in the lineup, Skipper?
Yeah, tough league. But Dusty Baker has a plan. He has a way that he wants to use both of these catchers, and he's going to stick to it. Of course, Hanigan swung the bat pretty well too.
Lucroy, a nice block. And another full count.
Yeah, doing a nice job squaring his shoulders up, keeping that baseball in front of him, and just cradling that ball into his chest. Got to do it. That's textbook right there by Lucroy.
Keeps a double play opportunity available. Hanigan's grounded into a couple of double plays this year. First and third with 1 out. Narveson in a little trouble. Runner goes, bouncing ball to McGee. And the throw to first. Fielder coming home. Low throw. Phillips scores.
That good base running by Brandon Phillips. He continued to creep off down the line as far as McGee was going. And as soon as McGee let go of that baseball, he took off. Not a very good throw by Prince. Short hopped to Jonathan Lucroy. There's been a few times already early in the year where Prince has had a play at the plate and hasn't been able to get off a very good throw. You saw just at the corner, you saw Brandon Phillips creep down the line as Casey McGee got ready to throw to first. That's really good base running.
So the Reds strike first tonight. Runner at second with 2 outs, and Giannis out in front of the changeup.
I'm not sure if Prince was going to be able to get him. I think a good throw, and I think he's going to be out. Nice RBI for Ryan Hannigan on a one hopper to third base.
Yeah, thanks to the speed of Brandon Phillips. That is a balk, and Cairo will be sent to third base.
It didn't stop, he just bounced. You have to stop 1/1000 and then throw. You just can't change direction. Watch Narveson. Watch, he's going to bounce. The glove's going to come down to the waist, go right back up. There you see it, and that's a ball. You have to stop.
Pitching coach Rick Kranitz. And a fastball strike, a good one. Ball and 2 strikes on the Red shortstop, Paul Janisch. Well, Janisch giving the everyday role this year. Hitting .277 to start. That's the big question with Janisch. Will he hit enough to stay in that role? Oh, fastball just missed. And another 3-2 count. A lot of pitches early for Narveson. This will be pitch number 40. Only in the second inning. Cincinnati had Orlando Cabrera at shortstop last year. Cabrera now with the Indians. Gave it away for Janisch, an excellent defender. 3-2 pitch. Lost him. So a grinder of an inning for Narveson. 2 hits and a walk, and first and third for Arroyo.
And on Saturday, May 7th and Sunday, May 8th at Hellfair Field, test drive a 2011 Chevrolet Cruze, Traverse, or Equinox and get 2 tickets to a future Brewers game. Visit Brewers.com for details.
Good crowd on a Monday night here. A lot of kids in Milwaukee on spring break this week. 2 on with 2 out. Arroyo, the batter, has 1 hit this year. He is 1 for 7. Sneaky with the bat is Bronson Arroyo. He's actually done some damage to the Brewers over the years. And a bunt. Narveson, long shovel to first base. Wow, that was a surprise. But the out is recorded. Inning over. The Reds get a run.
I think Ron has done a great job creating this atmosphere, so it's really good.
Trimmed it up a little bit last night to try and make it look good. I guess my bobblehead had the curly stash, so I had to make it, look a little similar, I guess.
Today, it was really just a matter of mixing my speeds and throwing strikes. Didn't walk any guys, and they had 4 hits, and it's easier when you don't give them free bases with walks.
I don't know. I see a pigeon fly ball out by, and all of a sudden this hawk's right on its tail.
Some of the sound from last night's post-game show, Brewers Live. Make sure you join us each and every night after the ball game for Brewers Live post-game. You'll get to hear from those who are involved. And sometimes we take them a little off course.
Right.
Maybe the hawk comes up.
Talking about birds. I think the comments from Prince Fielder are pretty much genuine throughout the entire ball club. I think that Ron Renicky and the coaching staff have created a very good working environment here. They're working hard, they're accountable, but they're having a good time.
As Kotze bounces out for out number 1. Yeah, the new Brewers skipper making a mark here with his club. What's amazing is how many players actually volunteer commentary. Players just don't talk about their manager that much. Usually have to ask them about a skipper, but hearing guys like Prince Fielder and Ryan Braun, Casey McGee, the leaders of the clubhouse.
Yeah, Ryan talked about the coaching staff when he made his comments after signing that big deal. How often do you hear that? I mean, you love the players here. The coaching staff is tremendous. So you know that they're doing something right.
Uni Betancourt with a base hit. So the Brewers with a base runner with 1 away as Betancourt delivers a single at his first at bat.
And Betancourt really starting to dial it in too. Ever since that Ofer in Cincinnati, did not get a hit in Cincinnati, but if you started his season on opening day in Milwaukee, he's been swinging the bat extremely well. He likes to hit here at Miller Park.
Anxiously awaiting his first Brewers home run, which was a big part of his offense last year. Now it's Lucroy. And this is when you're counting on an 8th place hitter to do some damage. Put you in a position with the pitcher coming up next, although Narveson swings the bat well. There's that spinner from Arroyo. Buckled the knees of Lucroy.
And gave the slide step. I mean, that not only makes the base runner hesitate over at first base, but it surprises the hitter when you come at him that quickly.
The wily veteran Bronson Arroyo against the young catcher, 24-year-old Jonathan Lucroy. And he got him to chase. Arroyo strikes out Lucroy for out number 2. Just a reminder, you can click on the Fan Zone tab on the FoxSportsWisconsin.com homepage and win prizes in the new Fox Sports Wisconsin Fan Zone. Team merchandise, game tickets, unique fan experiences, tech toys, and more. And if you're not a member, join now. It's fast and it's free, and it's all at the Fan Zone tab on FoxSportsWisconsin.com. Here is Narveson. 1 hit in 9 tries this year. A little sidearm curveball for a strike from Arroyo. Tonight, Bronson Arroyo is making his 300th appearance in the major leagues.
That pitch right there at 68 miles an hour.
The flutter ball. And a shot over to Votto makes the play for the out. Inning over. 1-0 Cincinnati. We head to the 3rd. We will visit with the Brewers hitting coach when we come back. Head to the third inning, and joining us in the first base dugout is Brewers hitting coach Dale Swaim. Thanks for joining us here, Dale. And before we get moving with all the ins and outs of Bronson Arroyo, we just heard a moment ago from Prince Fielder commenting about Ron Renicky and the rest of the coaching staff. What has been your perspective of the way things have gone 21 games into the season?
Well, you know, they've been great after the first 4 games. You know, we've been playing pretty good baseball. The defense has been, you know, I guess it's tops in baseball right now, our defense. And, you know, all the guys are swinging the bats pretty good right now. You know, I've been really proud of Gomez the last week. He's been, you know, putting together, I think he's had 17 quality at bats in a row. You know, so everything's going really good right now. We're kind of, you know, working on all cylinders right now, and you know, just a matter of you know, getting some big hits at the right time.
You know, it's fun enough to have, you know, Ryan Braun hot and Prince Fielder hot at a given time, but have you ever seen them swinging the bat as well as they have together so far this year?
No, not that I know of. Not that I can remember. Obviously, they're both, you know, they're taking their walks. They're, you know, the mistakes they're getting, they're taking advantage of them. They're both hitting home runs. They're driving in runs. This is as good as I've seen them together, and it's obviously, you know, fun to watch.
Have you tried to remind Casey McGee where the fielders are positioned, because he's been hitting some rockets right at defenders? I mean, he's hitting about 280 something. He could be hitting 320.
Yeah, you know, as well as you know, Betancourt. You know, Betancourt. You know, after starting the season 0 for 11 or something like that, he's hit the ball probably as hard as anybody, and he just you know, lined another single into left field. And you know, like I said, everybody's you know, feeling pretty good right now at the plate. I don't have really too much work to do right now.
Well, speaking of the shifting, a big shift on is here for Jay Bruce. Just the philosophy of the shifting that we've seen this year from the Brewers.
Well, I kind of call it you know, the 90% rule. You know, if the guy's going to hit a ball here 90% of the time, we'll play there. You know, we don't play double play depth. We got rid of that again. You know, we had it here when, you know, Ned was here, when I was the infield coach as well. You know, last night it saved a big inning. We weren't crunched up in double play depth. Uni was back, you know, over in the hole, and we still turned a double play on I don't know, one of their fast runners. I forget who hit it, but you know, and it's saving runs. It's saving big innings. It's keeping you know, innings. We're shutting down innings because of the way we're positioning. Sometimes you get burnt on it, but hey, if a guy's going to do something 90% of the time, then let's play there. Oops.
Yep, that one is way back, and Jay Bruce has sent one out of here. A 2-run home run for the Cincinnati Reds. Jay Bruce delivers his 3rd home run of the season, and the Reds have a 3-0 lead. Well, Dale, just before we let you go, just your quick thoughts on Arroyo and the plan of attack with Bronson Arroyo on a nightly basis.
Well, I mean, when you face Arroyo, he's out there. Sometimes he's inventing stuff and doing a lot of different things. He's never going to pitch you the same all the time. So it's not like you can go up there and look breaking ball. And next at bat, he'll throw you fastballs after throwing you a bunch of breaking balls. You just got to be ready for balls that are elevated. If you're going to look for his breaking ball, you look for the one that starts at you if you're a right-hander. And if you're left-handed, you look for the one that starts away and breaks down the middle of the plate. But you just get up, you get him up in the zone. That's the bottom line. You get him up in the zone and you do your damage that way. But you don't look, it's not a guy you look down and away or in or anything like that. You just look for the ball up in the zone, because he will make a lot of mistakes. You just have to be ready for a lot of those mistakes.
All right, Dale, thank you for your time tonight.
All right, guys, thanks.
As Dale Swaim, as Joey Votto is on his way to second base. Just snuck it inside the bag. And a double for Joey Votto. 3 hits to start this inning for the Reds.
And Joey Votto off to another very good start. You remember he blistered that fly ball to left field, and just so that he'll remind you that he can do it, he tucks one inside the first baseline for a double. You know, Dale was talking about the defensive alignment, where a lot of teams will bunch the middle of the infield towards second base and be able to turn 2. Brewers play relatively normal depths, you know, for their double plays, and the only way you can do that is if you have very athletic middle infielders, and the Brewers do with Betancourt and Weeks. The double play ball he was talking about was Jason Bourgeois yesterday, and got the Brewers out of a big jam.
Well, and if you're going to put a shift on against right-handed batters, as Phillips drops down upon foul, you rarely see that, because most second basemen in the league don't have enough arm strength to make that play on the left side of the infield, but Ricky Weeks does, and that is why you're seeing so much shifting on that side of the field as well, because of the talent of Weeks, not just his his range, but his arm strength as well.
You got to have a big arm for a second baseman to be able to be on the other side of second base. You bet.
Well, Narveson is in trouble here. 2 runs are in, 3 consecutive hits to start the inning. Bruce with a 2-run home run to give the Reds a 3-0 lead. And not quite the command from Narveson in the early going that we have seen so far this year.
And you look at his body of work, talking about Narveson, it's only really been 3 innings of the 24 2/3 that he threw before tonight's game. Other than that, he's been almost perfect.
Narveson, 29 years of age, start number 5 this season. Took a no decision his last time out against Philadelphia. He went 6 innings in that game and gave up a 3-run home run to Placido Polanco. He's working on a shutout until that point. There's a base hit, another one. And Votto around third. He's going to try to score. Gomez double clutches the long throw in. Not in time, and that wild throw allows Phillips to reach second base. 4 consecutive hits to start the inning. It is 4-0 Reds.
Got to hit the cutoff man. I don't care, what the situation is. You always have to be able to hit the cutoff man. You keep it down. I'm not sure if they were going to be able to get Joey Votto anyway. He was off on the crack of the bat. You can see that Votto at third base about the same time. Even a good throw, they're not going to get him, and because of the wild throw, Brandon Phillips that's in scoring position himself.
So the Reds lead 4-0, and here is Johnny Gomes. Already 6 hits for Cincinnati. Not a good start for Narveson. And he's fallen behind Gomes, 2-0.
Not sure what it is about the Reds, but they have been able to dominate the Brewers pretty good last couple of years. Last year the Reds won 11 of 14 from the Brewers and have already won all 3 games this year.
That includes winning 7 of their last 9 against Milwaukee. And you can take that stretch back even further. Cincinnati is 18-3 against Milwaukee over the last 21 games. So it's been a couple of seasons worth of domination at this point. Hard to figure.
Both here and in Cincinnati.
Gomes, that is foul, just got ahead of it. And the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. It's a very good hitting team. Last year Cincinnati led the league in hitting, led in all the 3 Triple Crown categories as a team, and they almost had a Triple Crown winner in Joey Votto.
Yeah, they lead the league in runs scored to the Cincinnati Reds, 114. They were tied with the Cardinals coming into play today. The Brewers have scored 98 runs before today's game. So they can hit.
Well, you don't want to find yourself in too big of a hole here early. Narveson already down 4-0. Still without an out in this 3rd inning. And Narveson approaching 60 pitches already. That's the thing about making a throw to the plate. You know, if you keep yourself in a position to turn a double play, that can change everything for a starting pitcher. As Gomes lines one to left, a base hit. This is going to get another run home. 5-0 Cincinnati, and it is not Chris Narveson's night tonight.
No, not only do you take away an opportunity to turn a double play, but another man in scoring position, a base hit, scores another run. It's already 5-0. Rick Kranitz on his way out, getting a little bit too much at the plate that time. You don't want to miss middle in to Johnny Gomes. You want to miss away, not middle in. That's where he likes it.
Quick trip to the mound for Rick Kranitz. 5 consecutive hits to start the inning. Three singles, a double, and a home run by Jay Bruce. And Sergio Mitre, the Brewers longman, springs into action.
It's been a while for Sergio. Remember, he got hit with a line drive in Washington and has not pitched since.
Now, that was a tough decision for Ron Renicky on Saturday night as the game went into extra innings. Mitre is still on the active roster. They didn't place him on the disabled list, but you know, the idea was he might need one more day. They could go to him in an emergency, but he did not appear in that game. Now fully healthy, likely to see him in this one.
Hey, you can put a guy on the shelf for maybe 4 or 5 days when you have 8 pitchers in your bullpen. When Corey Hart comes back, they're going to send out a pitcher, you would think, to add another position player to the roster. Be a little bit more difficult to do that.
Brandon Kinsler also getting loose. Kinsler maybe to get out of a jam in this inning. And Mitre perhaps to try to take it through the middle relief innings. 5-0 Cincinnati. Narveson could use a ground ball double play in a big way right here. And the count will go to 2-2 on Cairo. Reached on an infield hit his last time up. 62 pitches for Narveson. Had pretty good numbers against Cincinnati coming in. No wins, but an ERA of 2.93 career against the Reds in a couple of starts. Into left, Braun eases in. He's got it for the out. First out of the inning.
Hey, come out to Miller Park on May 9th through the 14th and save 50% on select seats during your Milwaukee Brewers 5-county 5-day celebration. Some exclusions apply. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or go to brewers.com today.
Good crowd tonight here at Miller Park. Expecting good crowds for the remainder of this homestand. Another night game tomorrow night on Fox Sports Wisconsin, and then a day game Wednesday for the finale. The Brewers are 7-3 here at Miller Park, and they've won every series they played at this ballpark this season. Series wins over the Braves, the Chicago Cubs, and the Astros.
And they've done pretty much everything right. They've got a team batting average before tonight at .310 here at Miller Park.
Wow.
With an ERA at .326.
Oh, nice play by Fielder. That one was headed for the seats. Saves an error.
Got to be on your toes to make this play. And Prince able to pick it and keep him at first base.
Ryan Hannigan. Runner goes. Line drive. That is a fair ball. It bounces down into the corner. And here comes Gomes. He will score as Braun fumbles with the baseball. It is 6-0 Cincinnati. As Hannigan drives in a run, his 7th of the year, gives him 2 tonight.
Yeah, they wouldn't have had a play on Johnny Gomes at home plate, and Hannigan would have been at second anyway, so that won't be an error on Brawny. Tried to be a little bit too quick, thinking he might have a play at the plate. I don't think he did. And that was a sure double for Ryan Hannigan, and the beat goes on for Cincinnati.
And that's going to do it for Chris Narveson. Boy, Hannigan hit that one right off the ground almost. As Gomes scores the 6th run, and Ron Renicky is going to make it a short start for Chris Narveson. To the bullpen he goes with 1 away. We'll take a break. For the Reds, they have a runner at second, just 1 out in this 3rd inning, and Chris Narveson, his worst start of the year. That is going to sting for a while. 2 1/3 for Narveson tonight. At this point, 6 earned runs, still has a runner at second base. That is his responsibility. Just not his night tonight, partner.
No, that didn't have good location. He started out pretty well at three down first. Had some problems in the 2nd inning, gave up a run, and a whole world of problems. Now he just doubled his output for runs allowed this year in 2 innings.
So it's Brandon Kinsler on to try to get out of this 3rd inning and keep it at a 6-run deficit.
Kinsler has been throwing much better than those numbers would tell you. He's been much better than a 5.6 ERA.
And he'll face Giannis, his first batter, strike 1. Yeah, you're starting to see things come together for Brandon Kinsler.
Yeah, things turned around nicely for him once he started to rely on that changeup a little bit. Came up with that pitch recently and started to throw it in the game, and it's been an effective pitch for him.
Ball and 2 strikes. Now Chris Narveson, to start the season before tonight's start, 24 2/3 innings, and he allowed 6 earned runs. Gives up 6 earnings in 2 1/3 tonight at this point. And a quick hook tonight. The 1-2 in the dirt. Nice play back there from Lucroy. Now the way the Brewers are scoring runs here, though, plenty of baseball left in this game.
There's been a lot of dramatic comebacks for both of these teams in recent years. Not as many come from behind victories for the Brewers lately, though. I remember a few years ago, the Brewers were down 9-0 to the Cincinnati ball club. Brewers able to come back in extra innings and beat them. So it's never over till it's over.
And on this homestand, Milwaukee is averaging 8 runs a game. Full count to Giannis. Got him. Kinsler strikes him out. Out number 2 of the inning.
Yep, 93 miles an hour at the knees. Not going to get hurt too bad with a pitch down there. Jonathan wanted it away. Outer half and down around the knees at 93 miles an hour with some movement on it.
And now Kinsler will face the pitcher Arroyo, whose only hit this year came against Milwaukee. It was a double. I believe Arroyo was on the mound that day when the Brewers had that big comeback.
Is that right?
At least in Cincinnati, I know there was a 9 spot on the board in Cincinnati. As Arroyo bounces one up the middle, a base hit. And another run is going to score. Boy, it just keeps coming. 7-0 Cincinnati, and the Reds pitcher gets into the act.
Now the Reds 4 for 5 with runners in scoring position in this inning alone. And Arroyo able to get the bat head out on a fastball in the low 90s. Sneaks it up the middle. Boy, a 6th spot in the 3rd inning for Cincinnati. Boy, something about these Reds against the Brewers. And the Reds really hadn't been swinging the bats all that well. They got shut out last night in Cincinnati and St. Louis.
So that closes the book on Narveson. 2 1/3, 7 earned runs, and his ERA jumps from 2.19 to 4.33 in 1 start. Back to the top of the order. Stubbs started this mess with a single to right. 10th batter of the inning. Cincinnati with 7 hits in this inning. See the in-game box score. Most of the damage done in this 6-run 3rd.
Everybody in the batting order except for Giannis with a base hit, and we're only in the 3rd inning.
Two balls and a strike on Stubbs. 2-2. Young center fielder. Reds were wondering who was going to take over that leadoff spot in the batting order. Brandon Phillips, Jay Bruce, Drew Stubbs, all considered. Stubbs ends up getting the job.
Yeah, good combination of speed and power, just like Ricky Weeks. But Ricky walks a lot more than Stubbs.
Here's the 3-2. The runner goes. Stubbs gets jammed, and McGee's got to hurry, and the throw is late. It just keeps going for the Reds. An infield hit.
No, it doesn't matter how they hit the baseball. It seems like everything ends up being a base hit. They hit it hard, it's a hit. They get jammed, it's a hit. That's a second jam shot that's resulted in a base hit for the Reds. Miguel Cairo last inning. Ate him up inside. And with Drew Stubbs' speed, we just got done talking about how well he runs, able to beat it at first base.
And that's going to bring Bruce to the plate. A 2-run homer earlier in this inning, giving the Reds a 3-0 lead. It is now 7-0. 2 on, 2 out. This is the most runs allowed in an inning this season for Milwaukee. It had been 5, courtesy of the Cubs on the 8th of April. This has been a 6-run inning. Bruce with his 3rd home run of the season, now with 10 RBIs. Had a good cut. You know, ideally you look at a lineup, especially at the top of your lineup, you try to split your left-handed batters. But really for Dusty Baker, because Bruce and Votto swing the bat so well against lefties,
doesn't make any difference.
You're not too much worried about that at this point.
Yeah.
Bruce and Votto came to the big leagues the same year. Votto has taken off in his career. Bruce looks like the kind of hitter that could make a push. Home run hitter, a lot of speed, great arm.
You talk about Bruce and Votto and how good they've been against left-hander coming into today's game, and each one of them have a base hit. Votto is hitting .600 against lefties, 9 for 15. Jay Bruce 3 for 12. I'd take .250 against lefties.
Right. Full count, 2 outs. Runners go. And Bruce lifts one in the air, right field. Back is Kotze. And this one is mercifully over. A 6-run 3rd inning for Cincinnati. Sports Wisconsin is presented by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. And by Subway. Try our $5 featured footlong of the month. Subway, where winners eat. The Cincinnati Reds, a right cross to the Brew Crew in the 3rd inning. 6 runs on the board, a 7-0 lead for the Reds. And we'll see if the Brewers can start to chip away a little bit. A lot of baseball remaining. Bronson Arroyo enjoying a 7-run lead as he is back on the mound to start the 3rd inning.
I'm feeling a comeback here. Call me crazy, which I've been called many times.
Among other things.
Among other things, but I'm an optimist. This one ain't over.
Top of the order with Ricky Weeks, then Gomez, then Braun. You don't have to get them all back right away.
No.
Just chip away.
Yeah. One thing you do have to do, though, is keep the Reds off the board.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, we're starting to think alike. That's scary.
Well, good part of the order to get something started. Brewers had 2 on in the first inning with 2 outs. And Arroyo pitched out of it. Powerball home run count for Ricky Weeks. This was yesterday. And a bomb into right center field. Over 400 feet. His 5th home run of the season.
Just a nice short stroke on a pitch away from him and just jumps off his bat. So strong.
Incredible power to the opposite field. He and Braun. They hit him so far in right center that it looks like a left-handed power hitter if you just saw the flight of the baseball. A ball and 2 strikes on Weeks. And he is rung up by Bill Welke. Well, Ricky didn't agree with that call. Strikeout for Arroyo, and it'll be Carlos Gomez with 1 away. He's had quite a week here at Miller Park. His last 6 games, he scored 7 runs. He's driven in 4. He's been all over the bases. 3 steals, now 6 for the season.
Yeah, nothing but glowing reports on Carlos Gomez from Dale Swaim, and he has really been doing the job right out of spring training defensively out there in center field. Pretty sure if it stays in the ballpark and in the gap to gap, he's going to catch it.
Gomez has his father in town this week. He's enjoying his time with his dad.
It will be interesting to see if Carlos Gomez stays in the number 2 spot when Corey Hart comes back. Brewers love Corey Hart in that 2 spot in front of Braun.
There's a base hit. Gomez stays hot at the plate. A clean single to center field.
Well, again, staying on the baseball. What were we talking about when Cairo got his jam shot base hit? More hits off the handle than you have off the end of the bat. Down on the trademark just a little bit. Arroyo jammed him with the fastball, but Gomez able to get enough of it and fight it off into center field. You can see right there, just a little bit down on the trademark, but he got enough of it to get his base hit.
So here is Braun with Gomez at first. Braun with a single in the first inning, extending his on-base streak to 22 games. He is now 1 away from the franchise record held by Robin Yount. It was in the 1983 season. Yount reaching base 23 consecutive games.
And Brawny already with 30 hits this year.
It's impressive.
30 hits and 19 walks.
Yeah,
actually 16 walks. My mistake.
Superlatives are endless with Ryan Braun offensively this season. And it's a matchup here with Braun and Votto in this series. The MVP from last year, Joey Votto, and an MVP candidate every year, Ryan Braun. Both in the top 5 in the National League in just about every major offensive category. Braun and Votto can be found in the top 5 in batting average, runs, walks, on base percentage, total bases, and slugging percentage.
And both of them with more walks than strikeouts to start the season.
And both of them, let me know if you're getting sick of this.
I'm not.
And both of them reaching base in every game their team has played this year. Votto 23 in a row. Braun 22 in a row. And then there's that guy. Not to be left out.
No.
And that guy too. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Braun.
Ordinarily, you're not going to steal down 7-0, but that's Gomez's game. It'd be nice to be able to get to second base if you can get a jump, which is a tough thing against Arroyo, and take away the possible double play.
Braun stole a base against Arroyo in the first. And Braun is down on strikes. 2 outs in the inning, a couple of strikeouts for Arroyo. That is his 3rd. And speaking of Prince Fielder, how about his last 16 games? Remember, he got off to a slow start, but anything but over the last 2+ weeks of the season. A .413 average, a National League Player of the Week honor in that mix. All 3 of his home runs have come in the last 16 games, as have the 22 RBIs.
Did you see where the direction of all those base hits? Gap to gap, actually right center field gap around to the left field line. I mean, that's why he's been able to stay on the baseball. He's only struck out 10 times this year. This off to a great start, and Prince hardly ever gets off to a good start in April. Only a slow starter.
As a matter of fact, this is his best start to a season in the major leagues. This is the point in the season as you get into late April that Rock and I are usually talking about. All right, be patient, it'll come.
Don't worry about Prince.
Yeah,
he'll be
fine.
okay.
There's the spray chart to Rock's point. No balls, 2 strikes. Arroyo throwing a lot of strikes. His fielder just missed one. High fly ball to Stubbs. And the inning is over, and Arroyo doing just what he needed to do, a shutdown inning. Pretty picture to start this one tonight. The Reds lead 7-0 after a 6-run, 8-hit 3rd inning. Jay Bruce with a 2-run home run. Ryan Hannigan has a hit, 2 RBIs for Cincinnati. Meanwhile, Bronson Arroyo with 3 scoreless on the board and 3 strikeouts. Brandon Kinsler back on the mound. He'll start a clean inning here, facing Joey Votto to start. Votto, Phillips, and Gomes. Well, you figured Cincinnati up late last night. They had the Sunday night game last night, shut out by St. Louis, dropping 2 out of 3 to the Cardinals in that series.
St. Louis not that far of a drive or a flight.
If you're going to have a late night, you might as well do it when it's a 45-minute flight.
Right.
But the Reds were in here in the wee hours last night. You just never know in this game. Usually it catches up to a ball club the next day. That second day is when the fatigue sets in a little bit, when you have a rough travel schedule. Dusty Baker's Reds at 11-11.
And a lot of times the manager on a rough night like that will tell his team don't bother about batting practice, but the Cincinnati team was out after getting shut out last night. They were out for batting practice and the normal pregame routine. They don't look at all sluggish.
As Kinsler strikes out Votto. So Joey Votto goes down swinging. And the first out of the inning.
Only the 11th strikeout for Joey Votto this year. He does a nice job making contact, but Kinsler able to blow that one right by him on the outside corner.
One out for Brandon Phillips, who has 2 hits tonight. He scored twice. A double, a single, an RBI. Phillips hitting .360 now. He is racking up the multi-hit games. Brandon Phillips has 2 hits in 4 of the last 5 games for Cincinnati. Phillips an all-star for the first time a year ago. '18 homers and 59 RBIs last year. Had a hand injury, was hit on a pitch similar to that. It's knocked him out of action down the stretch for the Reds. Hand injury in late August.
Remember the Brewers there, and Phillips could barely throw the ball to first base.
That one is hit hard, but slicing foul in the seats. Hey, join us tomorrow night for a special event on FoxSportsWisconsin.com. Brewers general manager Doug Melvin will be joining us online for a live chat during the 4th and 5th innings tomorrow night. Starting tomorrow morning, you can visit the website and start submitting your questions for this unique opportunity to have the general manager answer your question during the broadcast.
Nice.
During the game. Did he go? Yes, he did, says Tim Cheetah. And back-to-back strikeouts for Brandon Kinsler.
Yeah, he throws hard, and he's got a good slider. Pitch down and pretty close, but Tim Cheetah over at first base rings him up.
Brandon Phillips telling Bill Welkley, I didn't go.
I said, don't tell me. I asked for help. What are you yelling at me for?
Talking to the wrong umpire. Always a smile on his face. Phillips is the kind of player that gets under the skin of the opposition. I mean, he's a lot like Ryan Braun in that regard. Carlos Gomez. The Brewers have a number of those players as well. Niger Morgan. But he plays the game hard and with a lot of energy and enthusiasm. He gets booed loudly in St. Louis every time he comes to the plate.
Yeah. Big brawl before a ball game, or in the beginning of a ball game. That was last year.
Yeah. How about Kinsler strikes out the side? That's how you do it. 3 up, 3 down with 3 punch outs for Kinsler.
Join Brewers first baseman Prince Fielder as he hosts a bowl-a-thon on Wednesday, June 22nd at Pinstripes Bowling, located at iPick Entertainment at Bayshore Town Center in support of the YMCA. The proceeds raised will build a centralized school library for Youth Leaders Academy located at the North Side YMCA. Brian?
All right, Telly, thanks. Looking forward to that event as Casey McGee leads off for Milwaukee. McGee, Kotze, and Betancourt with some work to do tonight. 7-0 Cincinnati on the heels of a 6-run third inning. Some guys get all the run support, don't they? Arroyo seems to be that guy for the Reds. There's a shot right to Giannis. And one out here in the fourth inning. How about some trivia tonight, Rock? Cheer you up. Courtesy of AT&T. Who are the 4 pitchers in MLB history to record a 40-save season with 3 different teams? 4 pitchers with 40-save seasons for 3 different teams. You got to keep the numbers straight. There are a lot of numbers trying to confuse you in the truck. It's a good question.
What was it?
There are 4 pitchers with 40 save seasons for 3 different teams.
Got it.
See, that's what I'm saying. You got to pay attention.
Okay. Well, I was doing some ciphering when you were talking about Bronson Arroyo getting all the runs.
Yeah. How did it end up?
27 runs for him so far this year in 4+ starts, including 12 runs against the Brewers in his first start of the year. So I figured you could handle the trivia question while I was trying to support what you were saying.
That's what we do. A little ham and egg. So about 7 runs a game for Arroyo. Kotze pops it up. Giannis wants it. 2 outs in the inning. As part of our Fox Sports Supports charitable initiative, we are proud to wear these pins during our 2011 MLB on Fox Sports Wisconsin season to support Stand Up to Cancer and their work to fund groundbreaking research that helps accelerate treatment to patients. For more information, please visit standuptocancer.org/Fox Sports. How'd you get that pin on a horse blanket? Rock.
It doesn't look very good when you take a cross segment, a cross section that small, but the whole body of work with the jacket, it's rather nice.
You mean the ensemble with the jacket and the tie and the shirt?
Absolutely. It's a good look.
Giannis makes it a 3-up, 3-down inning for Arroyo. Inning over. 7-0 Reds. We go to the 5th. Horse blanket.
we head to the 5th inning. Tonight's Tavern of the Game winner is the Pike Lake House Inn located in Hartford. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite. The Pike Lake House Inn.
Yeah, I know that.
That's a long, long name for a place.
It's a bunch of short words. But I thought you handled it beautifully. Beautiful country there in Hartford.
Yeah, Lake Country.
That's right. Not that you ever get out to Lake Country much.
It's your neck of the woods.
Why would you leave?
Wrong side of the tracks for me.
Yeah, right. Kinsler coming off a 3-up, 3-down inning, striking out the side in the 4th inning. Miguel Cairo leading off. Had an infield hit in the 2nd. Cairo fouls it away. Now the Brewers are anxious to get Zach Greinke back. And it's possible he could return on the next road trip. Greinke pitched yesterday in Nashville, 54 pitches. Gave up a couple of earned runs in 2 2/3. Next time out, he'll go 70 to 75, and then we should see him in the big leagues. Nice play over there by McGee. Long throw in time. Well done.
Man, that's a beauty by Casey. He's got nice soft hands, particularly on that backhand like that. That is not an easy play. A tricky in between hop. And the defense continues to be very good for the Brewers. Check out the hop. He's got to play it. Almost handcuffed him, but look at a strong throw over to Prince. That nice hands right there. Well done.
And a wind up and a throw. So 1 out. 5 in a row retired by Kinsler. And it's Ryan Hanigan on the ground to short. Betancourt, nice easy hop. And he makes a play for 2 outs in the inning. 2 up, 2 down. Our AT&T trivia tonight. Who are the 4 pitchers in MLB history to record a 40 save season with 3 different teams? Jeff Reardon, John Wetland, Joe Table, and Francisco Cordero, former Brewer. There's Cordero. One of Craig Counsell's signature moments came against Jose Mesa in that '97 World Series. Counsell had the sacrifice fly that tied the game, forced extra innings, and then would later score the famous hit by Edgar Renteria.
Yeah.
It was Counsell against Jose Mesa that allowed the game to go to extra innings.
Robin Yount had a pretty nice moment against Jose Mesa.
Hit number 3,000 for Robin Yount.
Yeah.
I got a feeling we're going to be talking about Robin Yount a little bit tonight. That always cheers you up.
Always puts me in a good mood.
That's right.
Yes,
The kid.
it does. Yeah.
Kinsler strikes out Paul Giannis. Boy, he has looked sharp since coming in for Narveson in the 3rd. The name of that band, that's what we tell Rock every night. The camera can't lie. 7-0 as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. I'm sorry, that was unfair. We're not going to pick on you all night, are we?
I don't even know what you're talking about. What did I miss this time?
Jonathan Lucroy leads off.
Well, you got to tell me.
And we'll see if Votto has enough room up against the edge, and it is off a glove or the hand of a fan. That's a way to mix it up over there.
Yep.
Save Lucroy an out.
Hey, once that baseball goes into the stands, it's anybody's baseball. Votto reaches in, but a fan helps out Jonathan Lucroy get an extra swing.
Had to hurt a little. Well, you know, this year, Rock, we've been breaking out some fresh, new, current music.
I've noticed that.
Right.
Right.
It's been a big part of our production this year.
Right.
Kind of a subtle thing, but
yeah, nice.
Well, the band that we just played.
Right.
You know, we feature different bands every night. They're called Camera Don't Lie. Camera Can't Lie.
Right.
As Lucroy in the left field, back is Gomes, and it is off the wall. Lucroy into second base with a double. That one almost out of here. Didn't miss by much.
No, it looked like it was out, but you know, as bright as that wall is out there on left, you really lose sight of it when it comes down. Second base umpire gave the safe sign. That was Jeff Nelson. That means it's not out. It's in play. And a slider, and Jonathan able to go out and get it and hook it off that wall on the left, about halfway up that wall.
Jonathan Lucroy safe at second, safe and secure. New York Life.
And just like you were talking, you know, the replay, that camera doesn't lie. It stayed in the ballpark.
Camera can't lie. And here is Eric Almonte. Almonte pinch hitting for Kinsler. Kinsler does a nice job, bridge the gap. And if nothing else, he bought a few innings for the bullpen. Kinsler ends up retiring the final 7 batters he faces with 5 strikeouts. Seven 0 Cincinnati. Almonte looking to deliver a run here. He has 3 ribbies this season.
I'm glad it's not me that has to make that decision on who in the bullpen is going to be sent out when Corey Hart returns, because I think they've all been throwing pretty well.
Right now the Brewers are carrying 8 relievers. Ron Renicky has stated that once Hart returns he will go to 7 relievers, as Almonte bounces one to short. Giannis bobbles and throws it into the dugout. The runners will advance. Giannis has a great arm and fires one into the dugout, almost wiped out Nigel Morgan over there.
No, it's 2 from the field. I think Jonathan Lucroy is going to get the score here. Keep going, Jonathan.
That's right.
He gets 2 bases.
Lucroy at second base.
2 bases, yeah, he
That's right.
scores. I thought maybe there's something I missed here.
They put Lucroy at third base during our replays here, but now they score him as Giannis unloads a 95-mile-an-hour fastball into the Brewers dugout.
Almonte only gets second base because he did not have possession of first base when that ball was let go. It's not when the ball goes into the dugout, it's when the fielder gets rid of the baseball. That's how you determine how many bases you get. So Almonte gets first and second. Lucroy gets third and home.
So the Brewers are on the board. And the general rule of thumb is 1 from the mound, 2 from the field. That's
Right.
how you know how many bases you get. But it was odd that they, first of all, Lucroy stayed put at second base, and then they placed him at third before finally Bill Welke, the home plate umpire, bringing him on in. That's a good start. 7-1 Cincinnati, and it comes on an error, a rare Cincinnati error.
Yeah, the first by Giannis this year. That's pretty good for a shortstop. Actually, that's his second. Nope, first. His first error. That's pretty good for a shortstop.
And the first error by Reds infielder in this configuration with Cairo at third. Well, see if the Brewers can take advantage. 1 run in. Almonte over at second base. Looked like a sure out to Giannis. This is how rallies begin. Nigel Morgan got a brush back, thinking he was safe in the dugout. In the air, Votto is over. And that is out number 1.
Same spot almost. Fan can't help you there when the ball's in play.
Let's take you back to the throwing error from Giannis. It's more entertaining where it ends up. Look at Morgan.
Yeah, he's still talking about it.
Yeah, that's not the first ball that have bounced off that wall. Look at all those notches. That's why I don't stand there during batting practice.
Giannis got a pretty good arm too.
Well, if the Brewers are going to come back here tonight, you have to take advantage of every opportunity. And a base runner at second base that the crew needs to deliver. Nigel Morgan has been in some hazardous positions while he's on the disabled list. As Gomez lifts one center field, backing up Stubbs with room. And that is out number 2. Almonte will tag and make it to third base. Yeah, Morgan's on the DL with a thigh injury. Look at him here with the hawk coming in. He hung in there as long as he could, and he bailed.
He's supposed to be resting, isn't he?
And then today.
It's safer out on the field.
A hawk and a flyer. I know the Brewers are anxious to get Nigel Morgan back. It brings that element to the team that they've been missing. They've been winning, but it's just an extra speed element, a good defensive outfielder. Morgan should be ready to go at the 15-day mark. He's got another week. 2 outs. Here is Braun with a runner at third. Braun singled in the first innings. Arroyo struck him out in the third. Ball and a strike on Ryan Braun.
I don't think Arroyo's thrown a pitch at 90 miles an hour yet. I think his range is about, what, 68 to about 87.
And when you start winding it up as a hitter, trying to hit one a country mile, that is when Arroyo has you right where he wants you.
Once you start thinking pull against this guy, you're in trouble.
His last 5 starts against Milwaukee, an ERA at 2.02. He's been good against the crew. As Braun rips one center field, Stubbs is right there. Tough break for Ryan Braun. Inning is over. Zach Braddock, I mean, really close, like Mark Atanasio's seats by the dugout.
Right.
Or if you want to get a little further back and get a little perspective on the game, the fielding, defensive.
I think the Lowe's level is one of the best seats in the house. You know, from dugout to dugout, Lowe's level. It's a good value. We certainly have the best seat in this house.
Yep, the Lowe's level is right below us. And a good spot. One of the great things about Miller Park, you know, wherever you sit, terrace level on down to the field level, is you have plenty of concessions, and you can go to the concession stand and not miss much of the game. You can keep your eye on the game as Zach Braddock strikes out Arroyo.
There's not a bad seat in this house. Let's put it that way. You know, when the kids were young, I used to sit up in the upper deck,
terrace level,
and you know, with them on school trips. I never had a school trip to a ballpark, but you can see the game pretty well from up there. Good sight lines, but really not a bad seat in this house.
Well, the Giants scoreboard, the video wall that is brand new this year, the $11 million video wall, really gives it a great perspective wherever you are. So yeah, it's always a good seat here at Miller Park, but I'm partial to this seat right here.
Yeah, it's nice. I've been up in that nice club for a game too.
That's a good seat. Good eats.
Have some dinner. Really good food.
Our buddy John DeMartini up there, the executive chef, always whipping up the great food.
Good food. Get to see the game. The beverage of your choice. Watch the game in style. The way they do it out in the Lake Country, right?
Not so much.
High class.
Oh boy.
I've gotten lost out in your neck of the woods. I mean, that's all I know about your neighborhood.
That's what we do. Our streets are confusing for a reason. It's like child-proof. That's not a bad seat. Rock and I did a game from there last year.
Yeah.
The Harley Davidson deck. How about the dew deck? That's a good spot, especially tonight if you're single.
Singles night. Yeah, big night here at Miller Park.
Sure, Mike Vassallo's hanging around up there.
Yeah.
Casey McGee. Nice play. Takes care of Drew Stubbs. 2 up and 2 down here in the 6th.
One of the most eligible bachelors in Milwaukee. Mike Vassallo, our media relations director. Singles night, you get a ticket, you get food, you get a couple of drink tickets.
So this guy here, he's
right
hanging
here?
around.
This guy here.
He's moving in on third wheel territory.
Right.
And now, how about that guy?
That's a no-no.
Oh, I'm telling you. Bad form in the dew deck. You got to hold your ground.
Yeah.
It's always a big hit at Miller Park. Singles night up on the dew deck. And you never know, with Prince Fielder, you might get a baseball up there at some point. He's one of the few that could actually hit one up there. That one is ripped and hooking foul.
Yeah, the guy at the plate and the guy on deck for Cincinnati could reach the dew deck, both of them.
Now, there was a former Red that used to go up there regularly. Adam Dunn. Votto has enough easily. 2 balls and a strike on Jay Bruce. 2 outs in the inning for Braddock. Broke his bat. Gomez coming in. Gomez makes the catch and with some flair. 2 somersaults from Carlos Gomez. Is presented by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. By AirTran, go, there's nothing stopping you. By the Miller Lite Vortex bottle, taste greatness. And by the Philips Norelco Senso Touch 3D. For a great shave, wet or dry, settle the score at greatshavedebate.com. Yes, sir. Carlos Gomez with a double roll. Have a lot of fun in that dugout.
Yep, 3 perfect 10s, but the Russian judge gave him a 9.
As Fielder sends one deep right center field. And that is going to be run down by Stubbs. Fielder is retired.
The floor exercise, right?
Yeah, let's check it out here.
Gymnastics. A perfect roll. Get the head out of the way.
That was a nice roll. This one came up a little flat, I thought.
Yeah. Well, that's where he got the 9. The Russian judge didn't like the landing. I liked it. I know Braddock loved it.
Well, this is the spot where they make roll out the barrel famous, right? Mm-hmm. As Gomez is headed back to the clubhouse to check his landing. That's why you can never take your eyes off Carlos Gomez. You never know what he's going to do. McGee, deep right, long run for Bruce, and he cannot make the play. McGee on his way to second. A stand-up double with one away for Casey McGee.
There's been a lot of near misses for the Brewers as far as home runs go tonight. I know Gomez has just missed a couple of times. Gomez, and now Fielder just misses. And look at Casey taking a pitch that ordinarily you would think a power hitter would try and pull. He pulls the hands in and nearly gets it out of here off the base of the wall. Deepest part of the ballpark.
That extends McGee's hitting streak to 11 games. And a heavy hitting streak at that. Hitting over 350 during the streak. Now it's Mark Kotsay. That's kind of the game, though, for Bronson Arroyo, isn't it? I mean, when he succeeds, he is a pitcher of narrow misses. I mean, that's the idea. Can get to the end of the bat, can get to the handle of the bat.
You always feel like, you know, when you step up there in the box, you're going to get a pitch to drive against Arroyo. And a lot of times you go away shaking your head, you just miss one, you hit it right at somebody. Tough customer, and he's done well against the Brewers as of late.
Kotsay's been hot. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Been swinging a red hot bat lately. Has his batting average up to 273. Kotsay with 5 hits on the homestand. He's 5 for 11. A couple of RBIs. Still looking for his first hit against Cincinnati. He is 0 for 9 this season. On the ground to second, the Gold Glover Phillips. Out number 2. Ho-Chunk Gaming Wisconsin texts the broadcast question tonight. Mark in St. Francis wants to know, what does it mean to have a quality at bat, as Dale Swaim said earlier.
He said it about Gomez. He said the last 12, 13 at bats have been quality at bats. You can't quantify it like you can with respect to a starting pitcher. 6 innings or more, 3 or more, or 3 or less earned runs is a quality start, but a quality at bat is an at bat where you have a good approach, you hit the ball where it's pitched, you're swinging at strikes. You're not swinging wild out of the strike zone, pulling off pitches. It's just something that you observe. It's not something necessarily that you can put a number on.
Well, and it's that idea, and that's what a hitting coach does. He pays attention to how a batter is tracking the baseball, how his swings look, if he's on pitches. I mean, you could go a stretch where you hit a number of line drive outs and your batting average suffers, especially when you get into the first month of the season. Averages and numbers just are so hard to predict. They don't really tell a story.
In other words, an at bat would not be a quality at bat if you pop up a curveball first pitch. It's not a quality at bat. Now, if you line out hard to short, I mean, if you really smoke one on the first pitch and you make it out, that's still a quality at bat. Work the count, see pitches, don't pull off. That's a quality at bat.
But it's to the point with Dale Swaim and most hitting coaches. They can almost predict success. You know, they can predict a hot streak at the plate. Casey McGee is a perfect example. He didn't have many hits in Philadelphia and through that road trip, really. Washington, Philadelphia, but you know, Dale Swaim said it's coming because he's squaring up and using the opposite field. And we just pass that information along. You know, we sit up here and people may wonder why you're talking about how well a guy's swinging the bat when he's hitting, you know, 200 or 150. But this is just information that we get, we see from the hitting coach, the pitching coach. And more often than not, they're right. Same goes for Rick Kranitz on the pitching side.
That's why they're coaches. That's why they're big league coaches. They know what to watch for. They know when a guy's due to break out, whether it's a hitter or a pitcher.
Full count to Betancourt, and Arroyo strikes him out. So the inning is over. Arroyo keeps it going here. Just one unearned run tonight against Bronson Arroyo. We head to the 7th.
You know, I was with Bronson in Boston And he hasn't changed a whole lot. He's a guy with no heart rate out there, and he just kind of sometimes I think he's just goofing around inventing stuff half the time, you know. So he's just a guy you got to be patient and get up in the zone out over the plate and, you know, lay off the breaking ball that starts down the middle because it'll be off the plate.
Dale Swain talking about his time with Bronson Arroyo, and he knows him well, knows his mannerisms well, certainly his style of pitching. It has been a rough night for the Brewers on both sides tonight. The relief pitching has been good, though. Narveson gave up 7 earned runs in 2 1/3. Kinsler came on and went 2 2/3 scoreless. Braddock now back for his second inning of work, facing Joey Votto to lead off. Kinsler was impressive. He struck out 5 over 2 2/3. Gave up just 2 hits. Bridged the gap. You're always thinking about tomorrow. On a day like this, certainly hope the Brewers can come back, score some runs, and make a run at it. But the fact that Kinsler and Braddock are giving multiple innings here is big for the bullpen as you prepare for the rest of this series. And I'm sure they both feel like it is an audition at this point. Votto, a little soft liner out to Weeks on a hop, and he is retired. Our Toyota game summary: Cincinnati scored 6 runs on 8 hits in the 3rd inning, chasing Narveson, a 7-1 lead as we play in the 7th. Everybody in the lineup has a hit for Cincinnati, with the exception of Paul Janisch. That includes an RBI single by the pitcher Arroyo. Phillips has 2 hits tonight, 2 for 3.
It's amazing how the big inning continues to be an issue for Chris Narveson. I mean, in his last 3 starts, it's really been 1 inning. It was 1 inning against the Nationals. It was the first inning that he allowed 3 runs. And 6th inning, a 3-run home run against the Phillies, and tonight's 3rd inning. The big inning was an issue for Chris last year.
Zach Greinke probably trying to talk his way back to a major league mound next start. That seems to be a constant theme. Talking to the manager. Another impressive day of batting practice for Zach Greinke, because I know you're anxious to hear about pitcher's BP today. The guy hits bombs.
Yes, he does.
Then he said he didn't really have a good day at the plate,
just like the rest of them.
I was impressed.
Marcus Hanno can lay him right down the middle, can he, for those guys? Brewers bullpen catcher throws batting practice to the pitchers.
I think Renicky appreciates the press to get back on a major league mound quickly. You know, I think Greinke in his mind just said, I'll pitch twice in the minor leagues and I'm ready to go. And Ron Renicky put the squash on that quickly. Saying, look, you need to build up. Right. You need to get you to at least the point where you can go 90 to 100 pitches in your first game back in the big leagues, which he is not there yet.
Right.
His next start in AAA, he'll have 70 to 75. But that is going to be an impact arm returning to the mound for the Brewers soon, as Phillips draws the walk. Second game of the series tomorrow. Our Miller Lite What's on Tap back on Fox Sports Wisconsin tomorrow, 6:30 for Brewers Live. Wednesday's game not televised. You can catch that on Brewers Radio with Bob and Corey. And then a day off Thursday. Back in action Friday in Houston, Minute Maid Park.
Another 3-city road trip for the crew, back to back.
Houston, Atlanta, and St. Louis. That's a 4-day series in Atlanta too. And all night games in Atlanta, which means a late arrival in St. Louis for the weekend series. I think the Brewers knew it was going to be a tough April, which is why you hear things from that dugout like this has been a good month so far, even though they're 1 game over 500. The record's nothing to write home about. But with all of the injuries and the tough road schedule, they seem pleased where they are at this point. Here's the schedule coming up. See Cincinnati Tuesday and Wednesday to wrap it up. Then the Brewers go to Houston for the weekend. 4 days in Atlanta. And a 3-game series in St. Louis. And then it's back here at Miller Park May 9th for the Padres.
Yeah, it has been a good month when you consider the injuries in the schedule. And the Brewers are only half a game behind the Cardinals. So they're hanging right in there. I mean, it's a very tightly bunched Central Division.
Gomes strikes out. Braddock with his second strikeout. Everybody hanging around 500 in the National League Central. Reds got off to that great start and fell on hard times on their road trip.
Yeah, they lost 7 of 10.
And 11-11. The Cardinals are at the top of the division right now, 12-10. They've won 7 of 10. And you got the Brewers, the Reds, the Cubs are 10-11. The bottom of the division, the Pirates and the Astros. It's going to be a battle all year. I don't see a team running away with this division.
Well, not the way things look right now. You never know what's going to happen as the season goes on. But right now, the Phillies with the best record in all of baseball at 15-6.
They've won 5 straight, winning all their games on the West Coast. Rockies out to a good start. They're 14-7. Colorado leads the Dodgers. Dodgers just took 2 out of 3 from the Cubs after winning a series against Atlanta at home. No balls, 2 strikes on Miguel Cairo. Hangs tough. Dodgers lost tonight to the Marlins. Florida has been a surprise team to start the season. They're now 14-7. Hanging tight with the Phillies in the National League East. The Brewers will see the Marlins at the beginning of June in Miami.
Brewers will be in Florida for 5 days. Off day in a 4-game series. It's not a bad town to be in for 5 days.
Good spot. Hit the beach. Little beach, little baseball. Not the players, us.
Right.
Players don't go to the beach. Did he go? Yes, he did, says Tim Cheetah. Cairo is rung up. And the inning is over as Zach Braddock picks up 3 strikeouts over 2 innings.
Defense, though, as shown by Carlos Gomez back in the 6th inning. Good efforts, having some fun out there. Maybe a young Davey Nelson in his day.
Well, I don't know. I'd have caught it standing up. No, yeah. Seriously, though, they're playing hard and they're continuing to play hard. Great catch by Carlos, and I gave him a 10.
Well, I'm not surprised at all by that. You like the second flip.
I certainly did, because that took a little bit.
What are you guys doing in the instructional tonight, Davey?
We're going to talk about the balk. When a balk is called, when it's not a balk. And Rock and I are going to talk about that.
All right, looking forward to that. Of course, full reaction after this game coming up from the clubhouse as well on Brewers Live. Brian?
All right, Davey, Craig, thank you. Instructional on the balk tonight. What will your role be in the balk instructional tonight, Rob?
You know, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I'm going to be the actual guy on the mound pretending to be the pitcher.
You're going to be the balker?
And I'm going to be the balker. That's right. We have that reputation, don't we?
Yes, we do.
We balk at a lot of things.
Yes, we do. Well, that'll be fun. High and tight, almost buzzed. Lucroy. You can always find those instructionals at foxsportswisconsin.com as well. Got Jerry Augustine, The Rock, Davey Nelson. That hurt him right there. Davey had to ice his arm for a week after that for the promo. That hurt him bad. He told me so.
Did it?
You know that squeaky door? That's what that shoulder sounded like.
I've got an elbow like that.
Trick elbow?
Trick elbow, yep.
He had a nice scar. He got a nice zipper.
Couple of them. But I can always tell when it's going to rain.
Pop up in the center. Fly ball. Out to Stubbs for the out.
Fredert and the Medical College of Wisconsin are offering free prostate cancer screenings at Miller Park from 7 a.m. until 1 on May 26th. The first 500 men 40 and older who complete the screening that day get a voucher for 2 free Brewers tickets to a future game. That is a good cause, a good thing to do. 50 and over, 40 and over. You got to get your screenings.
Here is Craig Counsell. Had a nice hand as he was introduced, pinch hitting for Zach Braddock. So Kinsler and Braddock, a little silver lining tonight for the Milwaukee Brewers. Chris Narveson, not his night tonight. 7 runs, 2 1/3. Reds jumped out to a 7-0 lead after a 6-run 3rd inning. Brewers did get a run in the 5th. It was a throwing error by Giannis. Threw it into the dugout, and it led to the only run. LaTroy Hawkins will be next. That is a big piece to the puzzle for Milwaukee to get back into shape to set up. Cameron Lowe has done a great job in that role, which has allowed Renicky to use Hawkins in situations like this as he gets his feet wet. But at some point, and that day is coming quickly, the Brewers will have Axford to close. You've got Cameron Lowe, LaTroy Hawkins, Takashi Saito, all very capable late inning relievers. Adam McCalvey is reporting that Takashi Saito, who's out with an injured hamstring, declared himself ready to go after a 20-pitch simulated game today. That occurred after we had a visit with Ron Renicky today. So that's good news from Takashi Saito. There's a foul ball. 2-2 on Counsell.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and again, I would not want to be the guy to have to make the decision as to who has to go out of that bullpen, but those guys are pretty good. Starting rotation has been pretty good. Bullpen has been very good. The Brewers currently in the upper half in the National League and earned run average at 3.49 coming into today. That's going to go up after tonight. But still in all, they've been pitching well.
Speaking of pitching well, Arroyo has done just that tonight with a big lead. Not easy to pitch with a big lead sometimes. But Arroyo is not allowed an earned run. And has thrown everything but the kitchen sink as he walks Craig Counsell. That is just the second walk issued by Arroyo, the first since the first inning. He pitched around Prince Fielder in that inning. Hey, we found a look-alike. Minus the glasses, it's pretty close.
Wow. We're going to have to run that by Eddie. See what he thinks.
I could see the similarities. Ed Cedars hoping for some action over here. He's been quiet over at third base in that coaching box. Weeks looking for his first hit. He's 0 for 3 against Arroyo tonight.
Yeah, not a lot of pitches right down the middle and straight by Bronson Arroyo. That was looked like a change up. Maybe took a little off of a sinker. Missed inside. He's been throwing the breaking pitches down and away. He'll elevate the fastball with 2 strikes. Another change up. That change up went the opposite direction. Sinker, he'll cut it. It just drives you crazy up there at the plate.
Coming back with a curveball. And Weeks lines one to right. That is going to get down in the corner. Counsell racing around the bags, and he'll stop at third. Down 6, a good move. Second and third for Milwaukee with 1 away. And maybe finally starting to get to Bronson Arroyo.
Well, he left that frisbee slider up and out over the plate, and Ricky doing what he had to do, going right with it. Check it out. Not a lot of depth on it. Ricky goes to the opposite field and rips it down the line and right. And down by 6 runs. You don't want to make any outs on the bases, particularly home plate. Need base runners. The big boys coming up. Play it safe.
And Dusty Baker is on his way to the mound. And he's going to make the call. So Arroyo is done. 6 1/3 tonight for Bronson Arroyo. He pitched well again against Milwaukee, but the Brewers have a chance to tack on a couple of more runs on his final line. We'll take a break. We'll set up the new pitcher when we come back.
Only one out, and the big boys coming up. And just a reminder, take the Brewers with you everywhere you go this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Brewers game live or on your computer and your favorite devices. Visit Brewers.com to order and to get more details.
Well, the Brewers have chased Bronson Arroyo 6 1/3, 1 run at this point, and it was an unearned run. Still 2 out there, his responsibility. And a chance for Milwaukee to try to put some runs on the board. 2 on, 1st and 3rd with 1 out, and it's Logan Ondrusek out of Cincinnati's bullpen, which has been a strength for Dusty Baker this year.
How about these numbers? 12th appearance, 2-1. Look at the ERA, .71. Has not allowed a home run. He's a hard throw with a good breaking pitch, and an opponent batting average of 178.
Featuring a wicked split finger fastball, Logan Ondrusek. Carlos Gomez at the plate, presented by Wendy's. Continues his hitting ways. A single in the 3rd inning. He's 1 for 3. Could use a big hit here. 2nd and 3rd for Milwaukee with 1 away. Not only does a base hit score 2 in this spot, but it gets Braun to the plate and a chance for a big inning. This is a key hitter for Ondrusek and the Reds. That one is hit in the air to center field. Stubbs with room. Tagging at 3rd is Counsell. Tagging at 2nd is Weeks. And they'll both make it. A run is in. Sacrifice fly at RBI for Carlos Gomez. It is 7-2 Cincinnati.
Another quality at bat for Gomez. He's squaring up the baseball every time up. He's flown out very deep 3 times. A base hit back through the middle. Able to score the run. Just trying to remind himself, get on top of that pitch and drive it. Hit it more on the line.
So the Brewers within 5, and now it's Ryan Braun. And Braun does not like the call from Bill Welke. Two outs, runner at 3rd. Fielder to follow it. Braun can reach. Shattered his bat, and Ondrusek will make the play for the out. Inning is over. But the Brewers get a run. 7-2 Cincinnati. We head to the 8th.
Game forecast for the Brewers at Miller Park. Much drier game in store with the Reds, although we will have a lot of clouds around. Could see a spotty shower. Gusty winds will be the biggest problem out of the west-southwest.
All right, Ava, thank you. Looks like another night with the roof closed tomorrow. Don't forget, tomorrow night, a special event on FoxSportsWisconsin.com. Brewers GM Doug Melvin will be joining us online for a live chat with you, the fans, during the 4th and 5th innings tomorrow night. Starting tomorrow morning, you can visit the website, start submitting your questions for this unique opportunity. Have the general manager answer your question during the game. 35,794 the announced attendance tonight. Good crowd for a Monday. They haven't seen much of a ball game yet. 7-2 Cincinnati. LaTroy Hawkins is on the pitch.
His second appearance, he gave up a run in his one and only appearance since coming off the disabled list. Not much of a spring training for Hawkins, but they say down in the minor leagues he was thrown in the mid-90s. He got up to about 94 in his first outing of the year in Milwaukee.
Shoulder surgery last year for Hawkins. In the final year of his contract with Milwaukee. Signed a 2-year deal. Hawkins hoping to make good after an injury-plagued year last year. He was so excited to be a Brewer. Wanted to be a part of the team last year. It looked like a pretty good option down there with Hawkins setting up for Trevor Hoffman, and things unraveled quickly for both. Trevor Hoffman retired and is now working for the San Diego Padres. He is working in their front office as a consultant.
So what happened? You lose Hawkins and Trevor Hoffman. You pick up John Axford and Cameron Lowe. Silver lining to a dark cloud, right?
Yep. Which puts the Brewers in a much better position this year as Hawkins strikes out Ryan Hanigan.
A ton of strikeouts by the Brewers in this ball game. Is that 10?
Well, Narveson had 2. Kinsler struck out 5 in 2 2/3. And now Hawkins with a K. Braddock had 3.
That's 11.
There you go. I knew you'd come up with it. I didn't want to correct you. I figured you were working. I saw your ears smoking over there.
Yeah, my lips were moving, everything. I was counting.
Had all your fingers out, taking your shoes off.
11. You can help me anytime when it comes to numbers.
Oh, you're good at numbers. Casey McGee. 2 outs. So 2 gone. The pitcher spot coming up. Dusty Baker goes to his bench. Jeremy Hermida. (7-2) Reds. Somehow, somewhere, the Brewers are trying to break up this Reds domination. They've won 18 of their last 21 against Milwaukee. Hard to figure.
Especially since the Reds kind of came limping into Miller Park. Losers of 7 of 10. Weren't really swinging the bats all that well, but third inning they were swinging it well. 8 hits in 1 inning and 6 runs.
Seven runs, 10 hits tonight for the Reds. 8 of those 10 hits came in the 3rd inning. Outside of that big 6. It's been a competitive game, although you never know. Once a team takes a big lead, you start to see a lot of early swings and counts. Brewers got Good efforts out of the bullpen from Kinsler and Braddock. That always gives a manager anxiety when he has to take a starter out early in second or third inning. You're wondering, how are we going to get to the end of this game and be in a position for tomorrow?
It always helps when your starter the day before goes 8 innings. That's Randy Wolf. And you have had some pretty good starts leading up to this game.
Hawkins goes up the ladder. He strikes out Jeremy Hermida. And a 3-up, 3-down inning. 2 more strikeouts on the board. 12 Ks for Brewer pitching tonight. Arroyo in our Jimmy John's delivery of the game, and it was his delivery that had the Brewers tied up all night long. Arroyo 6 1/3. He gives up 6 hits, just 2 runs, 1 of them earned. A couple of walks, 4 strikeouts, and he is in line for his 3rd win of the season. See the final numbers on Bronson Arroyo. Uneven 100 pitches. Over the last 5 years, no National League pitcher has more starts or more innings pitched than Bronson Arroyo.
He is able to stay healthy. He's been pitching all of April with mono. You wouldn't know it tonight.
Beware of the weary. Yeah, he struggled with that in spring training. As Bill Bray is on to work, facing Prince Fielder to start this 8th inning. 7-2 Cincinnati. I'll be interested to see what Dusty Baker does with Bill Bray. He's typically their situational left-hander. A right-hander warming up in the bullpen. Over to Phillips. And a nice play. Fielder retired. So 1 gone. Fielder and Braun have had a quiet night tonight. It's probably our fault for talking about him in the open. Ryan Braun did extend his on-base streak to 22 games, which is 1 away from the franchise record.
I think it's our fault all the way around. Pre-game show, we were talking about how good Narvison's been, and talking about Prince and Ryan. Never learn, will we?
Nope. It's what we get. Maybe we'll let somebody else come up with the topics of conversation tomorrow.
Right. I think maybe tomorrow we should highlight Mike Leake. Tomorrow's starter for the Reds. anybody had to be reminded of that.
Talk about how good he is.
He has been good. 3-0.
Mike Leake against Marco Estrada. What a surprise Estrada has been.
Don't go there. Don't do it.
Good point. Big bouncing ball, and that second hop shoots into center field, and McGee with a 2-hit game.
And Casey gets that good top spin on the baseball. I don't think anybody gets on top of a pitch any better than Casey McGee. And when you get on top of pitches like that, you get that overspin, and that ball just shoots through the infield.
What exactly is that? Is that some kind of drinking parrot or something? Here's Kate. I can't get a read on that. Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
That is what it is, right?
Well done, yeah.
I thought that's what it was.
He's got a beer in his hand and
Google-eyed.
Yeah, got a hat on.
Try explaining that one to your kid. Ball and a strike on Mark Kotze, 0 for 3 tonight. Brewers could use a bolt. Need something to get this crowd in it here in the 8th inning, running out of outs. Three balls and a strike. Been a homestand of foul, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
You got the drinking parrot, the hawk.
Yeah.
That poor pigeon.
Yeah, he did not do well. What else?
3-1 pitch, and it's ball 4. 2 men are on. And Dusty Baker is on his way out. Take you back to Friday. We had our cell phone situation. Our girl Robin giving out her cell phone to the masses on Fox Sports Wisconsin, rendering her phone inoperable. And then the Hawk yesterday has a beautiful shot. And the Circle of Life in play in front of 32,000.
Beautiful animal, isn't it?
Mesmerizing images. All right, the Brewers have a little something cooking. Back to the bullpen goes Dusty Baker. call of Bob Uecker, Hall of Fame announcer. 7-2 Cincinnati, but the Brewers with 2 on and 1 out. And Yuniesky Betancourt coming up.
Good time for Betancourt's first homer. That would make it a game.
So Nick Massett is on the pitch. Bernie's ready. See the numbers for Massett. It is 10th appearance of the season. A hard thrower.
Yeah, hard thrower with a slider. Surprising 5.40 earned run average. But he's allowed only 1 home run.
Yuniesky Betancourt 1 for 3 tonight. Brewers down to their last 5 outs, down 5 runs. Massett, a big part of their bullpen last year in their playoff run.
Yeah, his stuff's too good for that earned run average, and his first 5 appearances he gave up 7 earned runs. He's been much better since.
2 on, 1 away. And Betancourt off the end of the bat. Stubbs runs it down for out number 2. Brewers just have not been able to get the big hit tonight.
0 for 8 runners in scoring position so far for the Brewers. A number of near misses to the warning track tonight. But the game's not over.
Here's Lucroy. Lucroy doubled and scored in the 5th inning. He's swinging the bat well. Has his batting average at .353. Lucroy did not play in the Red Series the first time around. He was on the disabled list. And a broken pinky finger on his throwing hand right before games began in spring training. A February injury that didn't get him back in a big league uniform until the 2nd week of April. There's a base hit. McGee around third on his way to the plate. And the throw is late. Casey scores as Jonathan Lucroy delivers with an RBI single. And it is 7-3 Cincinnati.
And make that 1 for 9 for the Brewers. Runners in scoring position. Good job by Lucroy taking that one right back through the middle. Hey, how about a big fly now? Make things interesting. And Massett with a fastball and almost got a piece of him. Yeah, the mound slowed that one down enough to allow Casey McGee to score. Drew Stubbs with a good throw into home plate. And Casey able to beat it.
Casey chugging as hard as he could go. As Lucroy delivers with his 4th RBI of the year on his 2nd hit of the night. And Brian Price, the Reds pitching coach, wants a word with Massett.
Yep, a scouting report on Brandon Boggs, I would imagine. A big fly here, and we have ourselves a ball game. That would make it 7-6. Brewers have pounded out 8 hits now. Cincinnati has been stymied since the Brewers bullpen has taken over. Boggs yesterday, his 2nd at bat, able to tomahawk a fastball, and actually first at bat in the 2nd inning, and knocked one out of here. His first hit as a Brewer.
In his first start as a Brewer, got the start in right field yesterday. His power side is his right side. He's a switch hitter. Started switch hitting in high school. And he's up at a big spot. 2 on, 2 out, 7-3 Reds. Top of the order next. And a strike from Massett. Massett has been good lately, but he's given up some leads this year. Has 2 blown losses and a blown save this season. And Boggs out in front.
It took a little off that time. A BP fastball. That bullpen has been very good. ERA under 3.
Now Boggs down in the count, 0-2. Kotze at second, Lucroy at first. And Boggs takes a called strike 3. So Massett bends a little, but the Brewers get only 1. Leave 2. 7-3 Cincinnati. Monday night in Milwaukee, 7-3 Cincinnati as we head to the 9th inning. And it'll be Sergio Mitre. It has been a while. The last time Mitre was on the mound, he took a shot off his elbow. And not enough of an injury to go on the disabled list, but enough to shut him down for a few days. And it's good to see him back on the mound. This was the line drive. This is game 1 of the Phillies series. Talking about throwing your body in front of one, and that great play by Betancourt. That might be the best play of the year right there. It was a double play.
Well, good to have Mitre back. I mean, he is one of the guys in that bullpen that can give you 1 inning, give you an out. He can actually spot start and give you maybe 2 or 3 innings if need be. He was missed, while he was out with that elbow injury. A good opportunity to get him back on the mound in a game like this. Of course, this is a game all of a sudden. It's 7-4. The Brewers are certainly capable of a 4 spot in the 9th. I told you early, I feel a comeback.
The Brewers would love nothing more than to put one on Cincinnati, due to the Reds what the Reds did to Milwaukee on opening day. That was a 3-run Brewer lead. Reds up by 4 here in the 9th. The Stubbs sends one to left and a base hit. Drew Stubbs has 3 hits tonight. This can be a very tough lineup to get through.
They do have a number of very streaky hitters, including the top 2 in their batting order, Stubbs and Bruce.
First 3-hit game of the season for Stubbs, as Bruce will hit with a runner at first. Well, at this point, Bruce is in our Menards player of the game. A 2-run home run in the 3rd inning. Robbed of a hit by Gomez on a double tumbler in the 6th. Runner goes. Lucroy's throw late. Cincinnati steals a base.
You talk about the good combination of speed and power for Drew Stubbs. The guy can run, very athletic, good arm in the outfield. That's his 7th stolen base this year. He's only been caught once. Good jump. I think even a perfect throw, I don't think Lucroy has a chance to get him. If that ball's right on the bag, nope, he's going to be in there anyway.
Two balls, no strikes on Bruce. Mitre has fallen behind 3-0. And ball 4. Well, you can understand the command problems for Mitre. It has been over a week since he has been on the mound.
Last Monday, and for a control pitcher, a guy that has to keep that sinker down in the zone, I mean, that could be a problem for him. That's why I was saying a 4-run deficit, 9th inning, good opportunity to get him some work.
Well, 2 on for Joey Votto. Votto had a double in the 3rd inning. He is 1 for 4. Mitre, a ground ball pitcher. As you see Cordero loosening in the bullpen. Dusty Baker certainly knows how quickly a lead can evaporate. Well, another one out of the strike zone. Well, the last thing Renicky wants to do here is go back to the bullpen. Rick Kranitz is on his way out.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to give Sean Green, Cameron Lowe a day off today. They had yesterday off. It was Wolf and Axford. That's all it took. Those guys have been throwing a lot.
A short start tonight from Narveson, forcing the manager to rely heavily on his bullpen to get him to the finish line. Kinsler pitched well, went 2 2/3 scoreless. Braddock 2 scoreless. Hawkins worked a scoreless 8th inning.
Yeah, that Drew Stubbs base hit to lead off the 9th, the first hit for the Reds since the 3rd inning.
Which was a 6-run, 8-hit inning for Cincinnati. Violent hack from Votto. Three and 1. Well, Mitre in danger of a big inning if he doesn't get an out here. The 3-1 pitch. Votto lifts one to left. Braun with room. Stubbs will tag, and he'll stop. So the first out on a 3-1 pitch. Mitre retires Joey Votto.
Yeah, good sinker going away from Votto, and got enough movement on it to keep it off the sweet spot.
One out, and it's Brandon Phillips. He's had a good night tonight. 2 hits, a walk, scored twice. He drove in a run. Mitre's strength is his command. So he is obviously not himself tonight, but still trying to plow his way through this 9th inning. He's a ground ball away from getting out of it.
It's basically been all fastball, just trying to get a feel for that sinker. Just having a tough time with it.
Runners go. Lucroy's throw to second base and safe all the way around. So the Reds with 3 steals in this 9th inning. And Stubbs with 2 stolen bases. That's Bruce's first steal. You can't blame Dusty Baker for trying to add on here.
Yep, 8 steals now for Drew Stubbs. And 22 in the season now for the Cincinnati Reds.
Now second and third forces the infield in. Just missed. 2 balls and a strike.
That's a strike in most situations, but Mitre hasn't really been around the plate too much.
And the 2-1 and a shot under the glove of Betancourt. This is going to get 2 runs in. And the Reds have answered. 9-3 Cincinnati.
Well, he got his ground ball, but the fact that the Brewers had their infield in trying to cut down that run. That's why he was able to get out of the reach of Betancourt. You see where he's positioned. He's up right on the grass. If he's back maybe a couple of feet, he might be able to knock that one down. That is a huge base hit for the Reds. A 2 spot. Now it's back to a 6-run lead.
The stolen base pays off for Cincinnati. So here's Johnny Gomes now with a runner at first. And Mitre's control problems continue. Not easy to have that long of a layoff. And I'm sure Ron Renicky and Rick Kranitz are going through the process. You know that Mitre was up Saturday. He was in the bullpen preparing to come in a game. But you got to get him back at some point. You never know. You might have a bunch of games in a row where they're tight games. You know, and Mitre's role might not come up, so you have to get him in there and get him back to where he was.
He's been so good so far this year, and you know, again, he had to get out there, and you know, bringing him into a game where the Brewers are down by 4 runs, not a bad opportunity to get him some work. Those are the only 2 runs he's given up this year.
He was before that line drive hit him in the arm in Philadelphia. He was starting to move his way into these late inning situations. It was Mitre who was starting to surface in the 6th and the 7th, as opposed to just the long man who could spot start occasionally. Tomorrow's starter, Marco Estrada. Hoping the Reds get all of their hits out of their system tonight. Full count, 1 out to Gomes. And there's a strike on the corner. Gomes rung up.
Yeah, 4 strikeouts on the night for Johnny Gomes. I'm not sure where he thought that one missed, but catching the corner, thigh high. I guess maybe hoping it was out of the strike zone.
So a 2-men are out. Miguel Cairo, the batter. Into left center field. Ryan Braun is over, and he runs it down. Inning over. The Reds get 2. Brewers coming up, top of the order, last call. Brewers running out of time. 2 big runs for Cincinnati in the 9th. Stretches it out to a 6-run lead. That 6-run third inning. The difference in this one. That was a big blow for the Brewers. Chris Narveson could not get through the third inning. His first bad start of the year. Jordan Smith is on to pitch. Those 2 runs changed the game plan for Dusty Baker. He does not have to go to his closer now, Francisco Cordero. Jordan Smith is on to try to finish it out for the Reds. Top of the order coming up for Milwaukee.
Yeah, one thing you notice about this Cincinnati bullpen, they have not given up too many home runs this year.
Chris Heisey in left field. So Ricky Weeks, Gomez, and Braun. Well, tomorrow the Brewers will send up Marco Estrada against Mike Leake, who's had some off the field problems. Not Marco Estrada, Mike Leake.
Right.
Marco Estrada has been a perfect citizen as far as I know.
Mike Leake hasn't had any problems on the field, that's for sure.
No, he's been good. 3 wins. The finale Wednesday is Gallardo against Sam LeCure. Dusty Baker. Brewers are hoping Gallardo gets it turned around on Wednesday afternoon. Slow roller out to third. That is a fair ball. Cairo's throw is late. Weeks with a base hit. An infield single to start the 9th.
I'll give him a finish. Yeah, Ricky Weeks, if that ball stayed fair, you knew there was no chance for Cairo to get him at first. Ricky sniffing base hit. Cairo able to get it, but not even close.
Infield hit for Weeks. 2 hits tonight. Salvaged a good game out of it. He was 0 for 3 to start. Back-to-back hits his last 2 times up. And that was Gomez. If you're the Brewers right now, priority number one is to try to get back into that bullpen. Make Dusty Baker use one more guy. Have him bring on Cordero. And then you go from there.
Yeah, the Reds have 7 relievers in their bullpen. They've got Chapman, big left-hander, out there. They got Carlos Fisher and Cordero.
Gomez slices one to right. Bruce makes a catch. Out number 1. A lot of outs in the air for Gomez tonight. Something he had gotten away from during this streak. He does have a hit tonight. He's singled. He's hit some deep fly balls, but Dale Swain wanting Gomez to put the ball on the ground. Think about going the other way, utilize that speed.
Yep, line drives and ground balls, and instead of fly balls and line drives. Really can't use your speed when you're putting the ball in the air.
Braun 1 for 4. Might have had the hardest hit ball of the night for both teams in the 5th inning. Just hit a missile out to center field, but it was right at Stubbs. Singled in his first at bat, stole a base. See Jordan Smith with that split finger grip. Gets it ready before every pitch. That started, I guess, about a decade ago. You know, a lot of guys who threw the split finger pitch, or what they called a fork ball, they'd end up digging in their glove for it. And hitters would pick it up, so pitchers started to realize that. They put the splitter grip in their hand to start with. As Braun lifts one deep left center, he knows this one's gone. Wow! A rocket off the bat of Braun, a 2-run home run. Just incredible power. And Braun is the new National League leader in home runs. That is his 8th. Gives him 20 runs batted in for the season.
Boy, he's just hitting the ball very hard. He had the count in his favor. That ball stayed up in the strike zone right down the middle. And you can see on the left, that's the sweet spot right there, folks. And when Ryan Braun hits it there, it ain't coming back.
Back to a 4-run game. Here is Prince Fielder. One of those 2 runs the Reds scored in the 9th inning. Standing up tall. Of course, if they don't score the 2 runs, Baker is likely to go to Francisco Cordero. So you never know how the game moves on.
And he's up now.
Fielder lifts one in the air out to left. Heisey almost in his tracks for out number 2. Brewers would love to get Cordero in this game. Casey McGee, 2 outs in the 9th. Over to third, Cairo has it, and a high throw. Votto, and the ball pops out, and Cheetah calls him out. So the ball game is over. Casey McGee looks hurt. Casey McGee holding his thumb. This is not a good sight. as the game ends on a 5-3 ground out. And McGee looks like he is in a lot of pain.
Man, not a very good throw. You can see Casey must have perhaps hyperextended that thumb as he ran into Votto at first base. And you see it right there, the left hand. Boy, Votto is kind of dangerous going right across the bag like that. Didn't have to do it.
Well, that's something we will follow up on Brewers Live postgame coming up. Much more still come on this game. Craig Kashan, what do you have for us on Brewers Live?
Well, Brian and Bill will definitely continue to track down an injury update on Casey McGee, no doubt. Tough loss here for